Well, good evening and welcome to another edition of Porch Talk. I'm Paul W. Marino. To my far left, your right, is my co-host Ed Morandi, and in the middle is our wonderful guest, Jim Bush from the Adams Board of Selectmen. But before we get to Jim, and let's not forget Phil, who is here as ever, loyal Phil, it's time to do our local history quiz. So Emily, would you please put the photo in front of us? Now, this is a photo of a spectacular observation tower. The question is, what institution was this tower connected with? Or, if you want to make it easier, where was this observation tower? Frankly, I would suggest you go with the second question.
Was that a hint, frankly?
Well, it's kind of a hint. No, put it in front of us again. I'm not finished. A hint as to where this is the building that's visible on the far right. So now you can put it behind us again. Thank you very much. If you have a guess, even if it's just a wild guess, please give us a call here at 664-4408. If you're sick to death of hearing my voice, give us a call, 664-4408. Or if you have a question for our illustrious guest, Jim Bush, give us a call, 664-4408. And Ed, what's that phone number again?
664-4408.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I got a little bio here from Jim. I've known Jim for a few years, and I asked him for a little bio. And I know he's secretary of the Northern Berkshire Retired Men's Club. In fact, he does a very good job as secretary over there. And recently he had formed a ad hoc committee for banners for fallen heroes in Adams, which he hopes will be in place by Memorial Day, which is very nice. He is also part of a domestic violence group that is being formed by Councilor Marie Harpin of North Adams.
And can you hold that? We have a phone call.
Oh, hello.
Hello, welcome to Porch Talk.
Hello to everybody. This is Chris.
Hi, Chris. How
What
are
a
you doing tonight?
surprise.
I'm going to guess that picture. Is that up on the second lookout tower where the elk is?
No, it is not.
Oh, it's not.
That would be Whitcomb Summit, and it would be a good guess, except the one at the summit never had that box thing you see at the bottom.
Base.
Oh, that's the one after the Golden Eagle, or the Golden Restaurant. It's the second one.
No, it's not that either.
Not that either, with the gift shop on the right?
There's only one side left.
Oh. Okay, forget it.
Forget what?
I can't guess it anymore then.
All right.
Unless it's the one
And why
going
didn't
down the trail towards Greenfield?
No. I'll give you another hint. It's in North Adams proper.
North Adams?
Yes.
That's not your oil well up on by
No.
the house, no? Okay.
No. And
No,
why,
can't guess it this week.
Why didn't you call in last week?
I forgot, and then when I saw the second part of it, then I knew where it was because I went for the tour with you.
Tell the
Oh.
truth. Tell the truth, Chris. You didn't call in because I was not here. Right?
I think so.
Yes.
Well, take care.
Okay,
Thank
we'll
you
see
for
you
calling.
tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And before we get on, Emily, thank you very much for directing tonight. Okay. Let's get on with Jim's bio here. It says it's been his personal mission to put his efforts into bettering the community, and he is honored to receive the award. Now, what we're talking about here is Jim recently won the Peacemaker Award for 2020 for Martin Luther King Day.
Yes.
Yes, congratulations.
Yes, indeed. I would have been there except that I was in Boston at my nephew's wedding. Should
Now,
have blown him off.
if you think I have quite a little things to do during the month, listen to this. Jim works on the scenic railway, the Berkshire Scenic Railway. He's a volunteer. He's a coach attendant, the train man, and your kids out there, he's Santa Claus every Sunday from Thanksgiving until Christmas. He's also Santa at many other organizations throughout the area, and this year played the role 29 times. And one time when with the Aladdins, we were singing down to the Northern Berkshire Adult Daycare Center, and in pops Jim with the cutest little elf you ever want to see. Yes, she was adorable, Jim. He's also, as a selectman, he's a liaison to the Council of Aging in Adams. He attends lunch at the Adams Senior Center and additionally the Clarksburg Senior Center, which is now the Clarksburg Center. It's no longer the Cheshire, I'm sorry, Cheshire Senior Center, that's good. He enjoys sitting and talking with people and part of our community and should be heard. And use people out there from Adams and Cheshire, but Adams, I know Erica does a heck of a good job down there. I get the newsletter, in fact, I got it today for next month. She does a heck of a job down there, and the meals are still $2?
$2.
$2. You call up a day ahead of time, tell them you want to eat, and if you're there, you can see a lot of my friends down there. Jim will be there. Maybe I'll be there next week. And who else do I know that's down there? Oh, George Beckwith is always down there with Ginny.
Yep.
Very good friends of mine. Jim, you're also involved with the Northern Berkshire Solid Waste Management, District 1, and you're trying to bring other communities into the district and make a smooth transition to Casella Waste. Is that the service? It's not WM, it's Casella?
Casella, yes.
Okay. And he considers himself being blessed with a great board of selectmen, town administrator, and administrative assistants who he works closely with. Through the board of selectmen, he serves as liaison to several boards and departments, such as the Department of Public Works, for example. And every time there's a snowstorm, the minute the roads are cleared, and they're cleared very fast, Jim always posts on Facebook a thank you to his men. Very appreciative. So, Jim.
And it's taken so long to introduce him, we have just time enough to say thanks for joining us and good night, everybody.
Okay, I know this is the hot seat here, and there are going to be questions coming in. I think maybe Peter Kay and Mo would probably call in.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. I know one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the road of 1,000 potholes, the Route 8 going south. Is there any possibility that the town of Adams can just say to the state, here, this is your road, take it over?
Well, we're in a process right now of working with the state, Francesca, it's DOT, and John Barrett and Adam Hines, trying to do something with this road. You know, years ago, the town of Adams thought they were getting a great deal when they went to a 4-lane highway. They traded 116 for Holland Avenue.
For Holland Avenue.
You know, brand new highway, boy, we got one heck of a deal, but what they forgot, they're gonna have to maintain this down the road. And it's difficult, it's very difficult to maintain it. We got the state with the heavy trucks plowing, we have heavy trucks going at the specialty minerals that beat up the road pretty good also. You know. But we are working with local government and trying to get a trade-off so we can get that road fixed.
Well, I don't think there'll be too much money coming out in the cherry sheet this year. I don't know what the appropriation in Adams is gonna be, but I know North Adams isn't getting as much as they thought they were gonna be getting.
Over Chapter 90 funds?
Yeah.
Chapter 90 funds are great. I think we're getting $320,000 if I'm not mistaken. But that $320,000 don't even scratch the surface just in the engineering.
That's
No.
not even enough to do half a mile of
No,
road.
No. And it's nothing. And I mean, you have to have the engineering study before you even start with anything.
Right.
It's difficult. It really truly is. And right now we have the Route 8 project going this year, And we're gonna be working on Crowdell Street, Myrtle, and that area in Adams also, repaving, reconstructing, new sidewalks, et cetera. So,
It costs a lot of money. What do they figure, about $1 million a mile or more?
yes.
Something like that to go down. And, you know, you're looking like what, 4 or 5 mile stretch that has to be done?
Yep.
It's
I'm not
gonna be
sure, I'm not sure exactly what the plans are going to be, but I know it is in the works. and
Yeah.
We're working diligently to
we
try to
went,
get this.
we went down to Adams for dinner, or lunch, Tuesday with my brother Ben and his wife. And I noticed that the Department of Public Works had put some patchwork out, but
Right.
patchwork in the wintertime doesn't last till summertime, you know. It comes up as fast as they put it down, it's gonna come up, so.
One of the problems with that patch, what they're doing, is it's called a hot box.
Hotbox, yeah.
It takes 3 hours to make 3 ton. You have 7 guys, we have 7 guys in our DPW, basically laborers. The rest are throughout the DPW. 7 guys are out in the street. So now you got 3 guys mixing, or 2 guys mixing rather, and 4 guys, 5 guys out there on the street spreading. So if they make 3 ton, takes 3 hours to put it down. So it's a lot of work.
So- It's a long
Now,
process.
why does it take 3 hours to put it down? It's filling potholes, right?
Correct.
There's potholes.
Well,
Yeah,
you have to fill it, you have to roll it.
You have to clean the pothole
You have to
first.
clean it. I mean, it's not just going out there popping some tar
Yeah,
in the
and then
hole
it takes, most of that time is to dry.
It's a long process. It's a time-consuming process, you know. And I feel bad for the DPW guys. I mean, they go out there, they're busting their butts out there,
They
filling these
do
holes,
a heck of a job.
you know, and then they read on.
You know, we're lucky in this area because even the people from North Adams, the DPW from North Adams, especially Clarksburg, those guys up in Clarksburg are terrific. I mean, I'm not looking for anything, but those guys up in Clarksburg, I mean, there's only 3 or 4 of them, I think, and they do a heck of a job maintaining, because they have a lot of roads up there. They have a lot of roads up there to take care of.
And it's not easy, and the weather's got to be favorable. I mean, there's so many things that work against you when you're trying to do this.
Right. Now, we spoke on the phone earlier this week, and you surprised me by telling me something. We did mention the Democratic debates that were going on and stuff, and we're not going to get into that too much tonight. But you mentioned about the town meetings in Adams, and I was shocked. Something I didn't know. I thought that when everybody in Adams who was a registered voter went to a town meeting, they could vote, but they can't, can they?
No, no.
Can you explain that to the people? I mean,
Yeah. Our town charter, our town consists of precinct members. There are 5 precincts throughout town. And I believe there's 15 precinct members per precinct. They are elected by the precincts. They represent the individuals in the precinct. So when town meeting comes up, we come forward with a warrant article. We
Yeah.
provide that to the town meeting members. The town meeting members review the warrant article. If they have questions on it, if they don't like something, they'll send it back to us to rewrite it, to rework it, whatever. The town meeting members are the most important people in the town of Adams as far as town government's concerned. And it's really sad because I think we have more openings than we have town meeting members at the present time.
Oh, yeah, easily. As I understand it, some of the precincts don't have any town meeting members.
No, and it's not a good thing, you know, and you listen to people and they're complaining because, you know, nothing's happening. Well, run for a town meeting. Town meeting, it's once a year, maybe 4 hours, 3 hours. There might be a special meeting where you have to get called in for, you know,
For a vote, yeah.
throughout the year, but for the most part, it's one night a year where you're gonna represent the people in your precinct. And it's up to town meeting member or you to go to the town meeting member, either or, voice your opinions, you know, and suggest, hey, I'm in favor of this or I'm against this. You know, and it's the democratic way of doing it. And they should be honoring what you put forth to them.
All right,
Well, you know, that reminds me of, excuse me.
he's gonna sneeze. Here he goes. Oh,
Pardon.
did you see the tower shake when he did that?
Oh, boy. Well, a lot of people in North Adams get upset because they want to speak at the city council meetings and they don't like being called visitors. You know, we're citizens, you know, but it's not a public meeting.
It's not,
It's
no.
a meeting that's held in public to conduct city council business. And if you are a visitor, it doesn't mean you're a visitor to the town, you're a visitor to the city council meeting.
Right, and they have some rules there that I am not in favor of. In fact, the last time I went down to speak on it, I was ruled not out of order, but time expired. You get 2 minutes to talk, and you can only talk on one subject on the agenda. So if you're talking about a bar room being built 5 feet from your house, and there's also going to be a tower put up behind your house, but you want to speak on both of them, you can't do it. You can only speak on one of them. Oh, yeah, they have some, you know, this is to control the people who go to the meetings. I mean, sometimes the meetings do get a little out of hand, and people get winded, and they have to be silenced, and they have 2 minutes, and they're gavelled down after 2 minutes, even if you're in the middle of a speech. And the last time I timed myself just so I could say, and another thing is, because of, and I sat down, because my 2 minutes were up.
Now, you can come to our selectmen's meetings and question us.
Yeah.
You have that right. And I would much rather see somebody come to a selectmen's meeting and ask us, what are you doing? Why is this happening? Instead of reading on Facebook a bunch of non-truths about what's going on. You know,
Oh, Jim, wait a minute, there's non-truths on Facebook?
yeah,
Come on.
sometimes.
Yeah, they can't put it online if it isn't true.
It's very true. But you know, it's much easier to answer a question truthfully to somebody's face and give them the proper answer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah.
you know, having them, because the rumor mill starts and
And you may not like the answer you're gonna get, but, you know, I mean, according to Hoyle, or as we know, Robert's rules, if the thing is you can't do it, then it can't be done. And if you don't like it, it's too bad, but those are the rules. City has ordinances. I don't know what the town of Adams has. Do they have bylaws or ordinances or?
we have bylaws.
Bylaws, okay. So they're just about the same thing, just they're called different. And if you're gonna speak on something, all right, put yourself on the agenda in North Adams. You could ask any of the councilors to put you on the agenda to talk about something. If there's a cell tower going up, or somebody's putting up an array of solar panels that is facing your house or something, and you want to talk about it, if it's on the agenda, have one of the councilors put your name on there so you can talk and you won't be penalized after 2 minutes. All right? Now, a few weeks ago, in fact, I don't know off the top of my head how long ago it was, but on Let's Talk About It, which is another show that I'm hosting. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
another
a
show
co-host.
titled, I'm a producer, right. Zero Mostel. Every time I say producer, I think of Zero Mostel.
Yeah.
And Gene Wilder. Let's talk about it. Bob Moulton, Councilor Bob Moulton, was not available. He does the show with me, or I do the show with him. I'm his color commentator. And I called up a friend of mine, Ron Boucher from Clarksburg, who came down and sat in here, and we had a heck of a good discussion. I didn't think we were going to stay on for the whole hour, but Paul cut us short because the time was running out, and Ronnie, of course, Ronnie did the show with Bob before I got on, and we talked a good hour on different things that come up, and one of the things that I asked him, and now I can bring it on to you, I mentioned this to Bob also. I would at some time like to get a special show with you, Bob Moulton, Ron Boucher, and let's see, somebody from Williamstown. If there's, they have a, what do they have over there? Selectmen?
Yeah.
Selectmen. Get a selectman from Williamstown, sit down, and I got some questions I wanted to fire off to 4 people, and it was, one of them was, what do you think of regionalization with the waste management like you're going through now? But how about if you took the towns of Adams, Williamstown, Clarksburg, and the city of North Adams and recombined them? If Williamstown doesn't want to get involved in it, fine, because they're on a different TV network, so they don't even see this.
That's
But-
right.
But if you want to combine the 3 towns and go back to something like Hoosick, and now, just look at the money you're going to save. 1 police station, maybe 2 police stations, fire department, but 1 superintendent of school, you eliminate 2 superintendents of school, and there's quite a bit of money there. You can eliminate a lot of things in purchasing power. You were going out to buy cups, and you could buy cups 5 for $1, or 200 for $5, but you can't use 200, but the other 3 communities can. You buy 200 and you save money. You know, what do you think about that?
That's un-American.
One school system.
Well, I think regionalization is going to become reality sooner or later in our, I don't know if our lifetimes, but it's going to become reality. I'm quite sure it's going to. Schools are getting smaller and smaller. It's difficult to,
Yeah,
the
because
school system now, it's so difficult. Just-
now North Adams is going through another school, Greylock School. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it has to be remodeled or torn down and put a new one up. And you just did Coal Grove Park for $30 million. You could have put 2 new schools in for $35 million, but you did 1 school for $30 million. You know, you got the problem in Adams with, what is it, Plunkett Junior, Plunkett High School. What is the old Adams High School? The one going in on
Adams Memorial
Memorial.
School.
Yeah, it's Adams Memorial.
What is it now?
I
Nothing?
forgot the name of it.
No, I mean, is it a
Oh,
school?
Adams Memorial High School you're talking about?
Yeah, is it a school or
No,
nothing
No,
there?
it's empty.
no, it's empty.
It's empty.
That's a work in progress also
Okay.
for the town.
I know the one pass where you take a right on 8 to go south.
Right, that's the elementary school now.
That's the element, I know I worked there when they were doing the retrofitting of the whole school system there. Now that is what, K through 6?
K through 6.
7 and 8 go up to Hoosick Valley?
Valley.
Now, is that the only school you have, grammar school, outside of
Yes.
St. Stan's?
Yes.
What's the Pratt? So we have Greylock, Coal Grove, was Johnson still operable? No, just 2?
Yeah, just
The
2.
2, yeah. And all the neighborhood schools are gone. I said Johnson, Freeman, Haskin, Mark Hopkins is now part of, yeah, and Houghton's gone. Houghton School, Joan. Houghton's gone, and Mark Hopkins is now part of MCLA, which, by the way, MCLA is expanding again. They bought a house down on Montana Street, and it's gonna be the president's house before they're done, so there you go.
Interesting. They've already got a president's house.
Well, they're gonna put that into something else. You know, they had the president's house just as you go in where admission was to the left there. Then they got rid of that. They put that into something.
Well,
Tony
actually,
Tony Aceto was there.
The reigning president
Jim?
bought his own house
Yeah.
and began using Smith House for performances and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I think Jim, what's his last name? Boop. There it is. Bill, what is it?
Bush.
No, no. The new president of MCLA is starting to pick up and do a great job. They're doing a heck of a good job there. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Said
Is
nitty-gritty.
it time for me to go
Adams,
Not yet.
Adams Sewer Plant. It's operating
home? Our
still.
wastewater treatment plant, yes, it's
Yes, it's
operational.
still. Now, do you have any problem with influx of storm water coming into the system?
No.
Now-
Not to my knowledge. We, actually, we don't even scratch the surface as far as what we can, the intake
Is that right?
capabilities of that plant.
Very good. Now, once the water leaves that plant, does it go right back into the river?
No.
Where's it go? You know?
I'm not sure exactly where it does go. I don't think it goes into the river.
No, once it comes out of there, it's clean
The
water.
outflow, yes.
Yeah, it's all clean water. And I think it goes back into the river. I'm not sure. Perhaps
The
one of our
river is
friends.
pretty close.
Yeah,
It's possible. Like
Yeah.
I said, I'm not sure exactly.
yeah, because I know North Adams has just appropriated some $700,000 to do a study or to do some work on storm sewers that are emptying into the waste sewer because of engineering feats that were done, illegal hookups and so forth and so on that were put in place without acknowledgement from the city. And they're going through a heck of a thing now, and I don't know if they started that yet or not. I believe Tim Lescarbo will be on top of that. He usually is, usually
Yep,
does a
Tim's a
good
good
job.
man.
Yeah. And I can foresee in the future, Adams, North Adams combining with one big plant. Same with the water system. Where does your water come from?
We have, I believe it's 3 tanks throughout town.
It's where?
3 tanks throughout town that our water is stored in.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
where-
but is it spring fed? Are they spring fed or?
Yes, spring fed in, of course, rainwater is part of it, but I think there's 3 tanks. I'm quite sure there's 3. Might be 4, but they're strategically placed throughout the town.
Yeah. Well, I know they did a taste test back in the 1900s sometimes, that Williamstown come out number 1. And they come out number 1, I think, in all western Mass. And then they come down, I don't know where Adams came out, or North Adams came out, but I know Williamstown won it. They had the best tasting water, and we have some good tasting water here. This is from Sand Springs?
Yes.
Okay, anything
It's
you want to hit
It's so good you can't even taste the toxins.
on? No, you can't. Even though they're floating around.
Jim, have another sip of water there.
I'm good.
Paul, you have an announcement to do there.
Yes, I do.
Why don't you get it done?
Roger Urban, in fact, I think maybe we can have him on next week.
Okay, we do have a show next week.
Yeah. So Roger Urban is putting together a small group to create honor banners to recognize our vets of World Wars I and II, and I believe this is going to be just the ones that died in action.
Okay.
So if you are interested in being a member of this group, please contact Roger at 413-398-5067. And just to give Jim here a chance to talk, he is going to repeat that number.
413-398-5067.
Oh, you did that so well! Yeah, and actually, when you were doing his bio, I almost interrupted you to say that we might have Jim coming back here as a producer,
Oh, really?
doing a monthly show about
that right?
Adams.
And what's the show gonna be on? I mean, what's the subject gonna be?
Adams.
Town of
On
Adams.
Adams, Town of Adams. Yeah, very good. Very good. And do you have any guests lined up already? Like Mo or Pete or?
Yeah, Mo.
Curly and Shemp.
Yeah, it's you know, you get your feet wet in this entity, and you really, I enjoy it. I can vent out some of the stuff that I can't say on the street or anything else, and I'm accountable to what I say. You have to be accountable to what you say. Now, Phil doesn't, though. Phil can say whatever he wants.
That's right.
He's pretty quiet over there right now.
Yeah, don't disturb him, I'll tell you, he gets mad. You see those?
Those
dew
claws.
Those dew claws. Sometimes they're worse than a pheasant, a turkey. Talking about turkeys, you got one last year, didn't you?
Not last year, year before.
Year before? I remember seeing it on Facebook. How does it taste?
Good.
Was it?
Yep.
Do you have supper yet tonight?
No.
I know
home.
what he's having for supper. I invited him and Pat, his wife, to come out for supper with Joan and I, and I sat down to do some Facebook, and there's a picture of what Jim makes. Jim's a good cook, by the way. He not only cooks at home, but we have retirees have their banquet in the summertime over at the Greylock Community Club. Jim's the chief cook. And you want to give a little spiel on the community club or on the Northern Berkshire retirees? Roger Urban is the president, Jim is the secretary, Chuck Lewitt is the treasurer, and his brother Bernie Lewitt is the vice president. And we meet every first Thursday of every month, unless it's a holiday, but the first Thursday of every month at the Greylock Community Club, 10 o'clock in the morning. Coffee and donuts are available. Get together, a little camaraderie. Can bring up different things. And Roger Urban has been doing a good job getting guest speakers there. I knew I had the post for about 8 years, and after a while I was repeating myself with the chief of police, the chief of fire chief, the mayor, blah, 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 blah. And just kept getting the same people back. But Roger's been doing a good job. I don't know who he's got next month coming.
We have Jay Green, Adams Town Administrator, right?
Adams
Got that
Town
lined up.
Administrator, yes, that's right too, yeah. So if you're out there and you're over 60 years old and you're retired from your full-time job and you want a place to go on a Thursday, first Thursday of the month, we have picnics, we have dinners, we have trips once in a while. Stop down. In fact, just stop in to say hello to see what it looks like. You don't have to join right away. Just stop in and say hello, and it'll be Thursday the 4th. How about that? Right off the top of your head, you knew what it was.
Yeah, it's a fun bunch of guys.
It is.
And
it's
if
an
you
enjoyable
ever
day.
want me to come in and bore them to tears again, I'd be happy to.
Well, in fact, we have a quiz. Mm-hmm. No, Paul and I have a quiz that we're supposed to do at the center in Clarksburg.
Yeah.
And if people out there, if you like the town of Adams, if they want speakers, you want a little history quiz, Clarksburg, if you want a little history quiz, give Paul a call at 664-4408, and we can arrange. There's no charge. Paul and I do this pro bono. That's not pro quo prig, is it?
No,
Pro quo quid?
it's
No.
pro
Pro
quo.
quid quo, pro quid pro quo.
Whatever.
I wouldn't
Football.
say there's no charge, because the last time we were up there, they put us in electric chairs.
Oh,
There was quite a charge.
It was a charge. No, we can do this quiz to any, doesn't have to be a senior center, but it's an adult quiz, a history quiz of the area. So if you want it, we're available. Now, you're up. Go ahead, it's your turn. Yeah, I told you I put you in a hot seat. Anything you want to talk about tonight that we haven't covered, that I haven't covered over this? You know, I mean, you got something special you want to talk about coming up in the town of Adams? I think you can explain what the banner program is going to be like. You're going to recognize fallen heroes?
Yeah, the banner program is recognizing fallen heroes, KIAs. It's going to be from where we started out, World War I to present. but we ended up, we have one from the Civil War and we have one from Spanish-American War that signed up for it also. We were hoping to have 15 by now. We're up pushing over 30 right now.
30?
30, yes.
30 people from the town of Adams.
Yes, and
Well-
we have an excellent group. John Moyer, George Haddad's the one that came to me and he initiated the whole program starting. John was involved with the Legion, so I talked to John. And we got Sid, I can't think of Sid's last name, and Keith McClear from the Legion. We just started putting our heads together and things just started falling into place so quickly. It was unbelievable. Then the Adams Community Bank got involved. They found out about it, and they came forward, and they're financing the whole thing for us.
Oh, wow, that's very good.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Yeah, well, that's something that I have noticed about Adams. When they have something going on, people do turn out for it.
yes, and I mean, when they called me up and said that they were financing, I was speechless.
Wow.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I mean, it's tremendous. This is the first time I've ever worked on a project where people are actually knocking on the door wanting to give you money.
Give your money.
You know, I mean, that's a great feeling. The involvement is tremendous. We are planning on the kickoff May 16th at Town Hall in Adams for the banners, so
What's the date again?
May 16th.
And I've seen that done in another city.
Yeah, Troy.
No, not in Troy. Couple months ago, Mike, oh great, I can't think of his name. Well, the president of our board and I went to a presentation.
Mike Putnam.
Yes, thank you, Putnam. Sorry, Mike.
I know Mike.
Well, at any rate, we made a wrong turn coming back and wound up going through a town that had those banners hanging.
Oh, wow.
Is that Grafton, New York?
No, this was
Oh, okay.
down off
Oh,
495.
okay. There are a few around that do have them now. And that's where, I mean, George came to me with the idea, that's where he saw it. And said it's just taken off tremendously. What a
very
great
good.
feeling. I mean, we figure there's between 60 and 70 KIAs from World War I to present in the town of Adams. We're halfway there. I mean, that's tremendous.
Now, I have a question. You have a Civil War, Spanish-American War. No one from the War of 1812.
Not yet.
I don't think there's anybody in the area that fought in the War of 1812.
Check with Roger, he may know better.
Okay. But I have a question here. Are you recognizing the people prior to 1871 that were in the town of Adams, but living where they are now, in North Adams? You know, I mean, we were all together, town of Adams, so.
Well, if they were Adams residents and they were killed in
Civil-
action,
Well, there was never a person from North Adams in the Civil War. Fact. Fact. They were all from Adams, because this was Adams at the time. So, I don't know if there was, you said there's one from the Civil War?
one from the Civil War,
One
yes.
from the Civil War. I don't know if there was people in North Adams or Adams at the time that had died at the Civil War. Then I can check with Roger. Let me mark that down.
Yeah, we have John Bordeaux from Adams. He's got book after book of the veterans throughout the area. I mean, they're like baseball cards, just volumes of
Right.
them.
And what's his name?
John Bordeaux,
John Bordeaux.
he goes to the
Yeah,
American Legion in
yeah.
Adams.
Okay, he's the head of the Legion?
No, he's just a member of the
Just a
American Legion
member?
in Adams, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing that I find interesting is if you look up go to the North Adams Public Library and ask to see the GAR War Sketches book, there are something like 90 entries in it.
Yes.
go to Memorial Hall and look at their GAR War Sketches book. Absolutely empty.
Why is that, you wonder?
Nobody wanted to put their war sketches in.
Oh, well,
That's too bad.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, some of those stories in there are eye-popping. John E. Atwood, who was a charter member of the Johnson Greys, his war sketch, he mentions in passing that he had the pleasure of meeting President Lincoln. Yeah, because he was a witness to the
he was a flag
Gettysburg
bearer.
Address.
Yeah, he was a flag bearer.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in 1905, he delivered the Gettysburg Address himself in North Adams. Well, on one page, these two pages facing each other, there's one man who was an engineer on the Anna and Henry Lewis, which in the war was made a gunboat. And he stayed on to teach the sailors how to run this ship. And he went down the coast with them, down to New Orleans,
Excuse me,
and
Paul.
came back. Yes, of course.
Hello, and welcome to Porch Talk. Hi there.
Hi. Paul, I got a question for you.
Fire away.
It's Chris. What was Mr. Johnson's first name?
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Sylvander.
Johnson School.
Yes, Sylvander
Sylvander
Johnson.
Johnson.
Oh, okay. Because I traced my house back, and it went back to 1886 with Henry Ducksworth. But then I found out it went back to Eliza Johnson.
Yep.
We
That
got
was
Johnson
Sylvander's,
School across the
that was
street.
Sylvander's wife.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, at any rate, the thing that he remembered most were the personal conversations that he enjoyed with Admiral Farragut and General Button. Wow. Now, on the opposite page, there's the account of, I think it was James Connolly, who was an 18-year-old Irish immigrant. When he got involved in the war, he decided, well, now that I'm here, I should fight for my new country. And what he remembers most about the war was being on the battlefield at Manassas the day after the battle and seeing the ground carpeted with dead men and horses as far as he could see. The smell was horrendous. And then he talks about seeing a wagon load of amputated arms and legs outside a hospital. And he remarks, this is just one of the division hospitals that I was connected with.
Wow.
Yeah. Ooh. And, you know, if you never read that sort of thing before, you'd never guess that
You
it
don't
happened.
have to have a copy of that, do you? Or?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good.
Not on me.
No,
yes.
but you do. No, that's nice. You know, things like that. You go to some place and somebody's speaking and you hand out paperwork and you leave, you toss it away, and 10 years later you're saying, "Oh, I wish I'd have kept that there." You know, is it an original or is it a copy or?
No, I transcribed it out of the
transcribed?
book.
Okay, yeah. So here we are, 14 minutes ago. You getting hungry for those? Huh?
What is he having? Clams? Oysters?
Lobsters.
Lobster.
Oh, lobster.
No lobsters. Lobster.
Lobster, yeah.
Lobster.
Bastard.
And he has to entice me and tease me. He puts a picture of it on Facebook so I can look at it. And I got a good recipe for stuffing if you want. You boil yours first, don't you?
My
Your
lobster,
lobster,
yeah.
yeah. I don't. I take the knife and, while they're still alive, and stuff them, then bake them.
I bake them.
You bake them, yeah.
I bake 'em.
Yep.
Yeah, my grandmother used to make lobster whenever we were up to visit. Somehow she got it fixed in her head that my mother loved lobster.
But she hated it.
No, she was indifferent.
Oh, okay. Joan and I went out to a place, Kuskies, down in Rhode Island one time on a bus tour, and it was all the lobsters you wanted to eat, but you had to have them one at a time. You couldn't put 4 on your plate. You had to go up one at a time. I don't think she ate one.
I remember when Taconic Restaurant used to do that.
Yes, a long time ago.
My God,
You're not
you're
that old, are you? You're aging yourself. Talking about aging yourself, good friend of mine who passed away quite a few years ago, would have been 18 years old this coming Friday. He was born on the 29th of February. So he'd have been 18 years old. Pat, Welch's little brother, Fran. Do you remember Fran Walsh? You're too young to remember Fran. He was a pitcher for St. Joe High School. Very good lefty. Very good lefty. And we're down to
So we
12
have
minutes.
12 minutes to go. What exciting thing is happening in Adams this very night?
When's the Jinx? Hi, Jinx.
We're
night.
all waiting eagerly.
When's hijinks?
I don't know if there's going to be a hijinks this year.
Really?
Yeah. I'm
Well,
not
the whole
sure.
summer is going to be Susan B.
Susan
Anthony.
B. Anthony.
Yeah,
Gonna be the
but-
whole, I'm not sure if Anne Marie Bellamante usually runs it, and I'm not sure if she's interested in running it this year or not. She hasn't approached anybody yet with any plans, so it's kind of up in the air. But Susan B. Anthony this summer, that's going to be huge in Adams.
Yeah, that's
you know,
going to be,
it's-
yeah. That's
so
a
many events
National
going on with that.
holiday, yep. There'll be a national holiday before long.
There's a lot going on. I mean, parades, fireworks.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh?
There's going to be a real lot going on.
Well, there's one thing I would love to see, and that is, back in the 90s, I think it was 1990, they did a Victorian lawn party.
I think they're going to
Just the thing to celebrate Susan B. Anthony with. And one of the things they did was actually arranged by the schools was they had a young lady there in an evening gown with a fan, you know, the kind that opens like this. And there was a young man there who was reading the language of the fan. You know, the way that you hold the fan means one thing, and hold it another way, it means something else. And both sexes had to learn this, so that if a boy sees she's holding it the way that says, "I'd rather stick a fork in my eye than spend 5 minutes talking with you," he doesn't interpret it as, "Oh, come and tell me about your latest colostomy." You know, so, but when I saw that, I thought, what a stupid way to honor Susan B. Anthony. Because if she was to come along during that, she would not stop and think, well, isn't that adorable? She would go over there and give them both a piece of her mind. Now I've told you about the script that I have of reenactments. And it actually started with that idea of redoing that, where you have a girl demonstrating the language of the fan while a boy is reading it, and have Susan B. Anthony come along, come over in a towering rage, rip that, chew them both out for wasting their time and their God-given intelligence on this nonsense when there are so many more important things to be done.
Very true.
You know, and like if you were a woman in Susan B. Anthony's day and you came into money, let's say you inherited it from your grandmother, you could not handle it yourself. Someone would have to handle it for you. Your father, your uncle, your brother, or your husband. And if they were honest, they would monitor it very carefully. If they were stupid or careless, they would invest it unwisely or spend it on drink. And before you know it, your money is gone. But that's not their problem. Yeah.
On drinks, that's not wisely.
Yeah,
Well, you know what I did when I inherited a lot of money? You know, I inherited $100,000. I spent $60,000 on booze, $20,000 gambling, $10,000 on women of the night.
And the rest you spent
I
foolishly.
I think I told you that a long time ago.
yeah, well,
Question, how old was Susan B. when she moved out of Adams?
6 years old, I believe.
6?
Yes.
And where did she move to, you know?
It was somewhere in
New
New
York?
York State.
Okay.
You know, the Rochester area.
I think you're correct
Yeah.
on that, yes.
One of the interesting things about her is when she was a little girl, of course, both of her grandmothers lived nearby. So if her maternal grandmother was baking, she'd go up to her house because her grandmother was a terrific baker. If the other one was cooking, she would walk the half a mile to her grandmother's house and then come home, and her mother chewed her out one day and said, "You get the same food there that you get here. Why do you go to your grandmother's house?" And she gave an answer that only a small child can get away with. It tastes better when grandma cooks it.
Oh.
But the thing that really bothers me about that is, can you imagine a child between the ages of 3 and 6 walking a half a mile unattended?
Not
At this
today's
day and
age,
age.
no. Not today.
Yeah, but even in those days.
Well,
We used to.
yeah,
walk, you know,
well, you're talking about,
Yeah, well, we were free-range children.
this is true.
what year was she born? 100 years ago?
1820.
1820, 200 years ago.
200 years ago, yes.
Well, in 1825, there were still wild animals around this place.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there were still wild animals. That was before your time.
Yes.
He's a wild animal.
Yeah. One thing I do want to bring up before
Yes, go ahead.
we go away, or the show ends, is the importance of the census this year.
Battenville. She moved to Battenville.
Thank you. The census is coming up this year. It's very, very important that
It is very important.
you do your census, you sign up, you get all your information out there. It's
Yeah.
so important to
Absolutely.
every town and city in this area. We need the towns and cities need the money, and if names don't appear there, you don't get counted, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting your town.
Yes,
I
indeed.
just, I just want to stress that.
Now, does Adams mail out like they do in North Adams to every household?
I believe the census this year is going to be basically all online.
All online?
Yeah, this is the federal census.
Or what's the one we just got in North Adams?
That was
is
the local
local.
census.
Local census?
Yes.
So federal census, you gotta go online to take it?
I believe it's going to be, I don't know.
Isn't it nice to know that we have some sense?
Yeah, I believe, I don't think it's going to be mailed to you. There might be census takers coming around, getting information, but for the most part, you're going to be going online and registering yourself.
All right.
Yeah, and
But it's
people
very
will also
important.
be calling you
Yes.
to double check.
And reminding you also. But it's very, very important. It's really detrimental in this area.
Yeah, you gotta remember that the population in this area, the demographics, the population has gone down. It's still going down.
Yes, it is,
I mean,
unfortunately.
I don't believe when somebody says, well, there's 16,000 people in North Adams or, something like that. And I'm saying, I don't know where they're keeping them all.
Now, Ed, would you please rock this way toward me? And folks, the building that you can now see behind him is the Baker Rose
Thank you,
Sanatorium.
Thank you, Animal.
Yes,
The
you're
Ba-
welcome. Yes, the Baker Rose that some people call the killer cure.
Killer cure.
Really?
Yes, because allegedly, if you were drunk, they would chain you in the cellar and you would either be cured or killed. But that is a mistake, and it's actually a mispronunciation of the Keeley cure. There was a Dr. Keeley, I believe he was based in Chicago, who developed a cure for any type of addiction that involved going out in the fresh air and getting exercise. And so the Baker Rose Sanatorium, which used the Keeley cure, built that observation tower so their patients could climb up and enjoy the view of the city.
So what you're saying is that was up near Park Avenue? Park
Yes.
Street. Yes. Okay. It was down. I didn't know they had one downtown. Well, in North Adams. That. Yeah, that's nice to know. Paul has all these interesting facts, I'll tell you. I had another good friend of mine, Roger Rivers, who was up on history, and I used to listen to Roger all the time and to Paul all the time. And I finally got so interested in it, I started doing my own research. And what do you got in here, Paul?
Water. I'm trying to get a drop off the side.
Did my own research, and I got quite involved in the history of North Adams, working at the Historical Society, and read a lot of books, and just talked to my wife's grandfather. Well, he was still alive. Of course, couldn't talk to him afterwards, but he was still alive, and got a lot of information because he goes back to the 1800s. It was quite interesting, and one of the things that I always say, and people say you got to be crazy, you got your dates mixed up. That young lady over there, my wife, her grandfather was in the Civil War. Her grandfather, not great, her grandfather was in the Civil War. We got the pictures and stuff. I mean, the gentleman was only like 14 or 15 years old at the time, but he was in the Civil War. I sat down one day and added up all the figures, the dates and everything else, and went down to town halls up in Florida Mountain and down to North Adams and got all the information. Went to Adams, got everything, and said, "There's him." All right, we have a half a minute left over here. Emily, thank you very much for doing this tonight. Paul, we'll see you next week.
Next week, and Jim, thank you very much for coming
Yes,
along.
and Jim, I'll see you
It was a
next
fun
week.
show.
Yes.
It was.
And don't forget, if you got nothing to do on a Thursday morning, stop over to the Greylock Club at 10 o'clock. Have a coffee and donut.
If you do have something better to do and don't want to do it, come over to the Greylock Club.
That's right. Okay, out there,
It's an
Thank you
enjoyable
very
day.
much. See you next week.
play safe,
Right, thank you very
stay
much.
warm,